Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Kyle's Korner podcast. I'm your most wonderful, most humble, most best-looking person ever, Kyle, and I'm here with my, disgusting person that made me ruin my podcast twice in a row, Nick.
Hey, everybody. It's everybody's favorite cretin, here to ruin the podcast again.
He did it twice, and now he's back for a third time.
Yep.
And today, we'll be talking about Nintendo Direct, as well as Sony and not PC gaming, because we don't care about that. Because we're plebs and only play on consoles. Cancels.
Yeah, I'd say, I wish I could say something about Sony this year.
R.I.P. Sony.
But I guess in the interim between E3, I mean, it's been like 3 or 4 weeks since E3 even happened.
Yep,
we're late
a
on
month.
this. We're covering this down the line. It's kind of a recap for everything. But like the week before or the week of or even during at just any point, any time after would have been great. But the month that's followed that we've not received a single lick. Because I think Nintendo, I don't know how often they do their directs, but it feels like I've heard more about Nintendo's news in between, like in greater succession than I've heard from PlayStation in the last. I mean, their first PlayStation State of Play or whatever, it was...
Nick, they didn't need to do anything, though, because all the games were already shown in Microsoft's and Bethesda's and Nintendo, because they're pretty much sharing all the games this year. I don't think Sony has any exclusive Sony games this year.
I'm just saying, if Sony had wanted to stay like fresh and within everyone's minds, I mean, when I think of Cyberpunk, I think of PlayStation because I played The Witcher on the PlayStation. But for everyone else, they're going to have their correlation with whatever they played it on, whether it's PC or, Xbox or whatever.
It's going to be Microsoft, because that's where it premiered on his Xbox's E3 conference.
But again, it's not like PlayStation or Microsoft owns Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, but that's what people are going to think about, Nick, because they're going to relate to the conference.
Absolutely. They're going to say they had a good conference and they had a good showing for Cyberpunk, and they helped contribute to that, certainly. But my only thing about it is that when I think of that, I think PlayStation's, other people will think whatever else they think. So my point is that if they had wanted to have everyone thinking about Sony, we could have heard something more about you want to one up in terms of like the console wars going on and the next generation of consoles that's going to happen.
Did they even premiere their Sony's new console?
No, not yet at all. The PS5 has not had anything said or done about it.
Really?
So no. So I'm curious as to when we're going to see that next. Let's say it debuted like they don't do it like the day of. Let's say tomorrow Sony comes out and says, "Hey, come Monday or come Tuesday, we're going to have a State of Play." Stay tuned. I'd expect to see something for the PS5 because you're right, there were a multitude of different games that were shown off for PlayStation. There were some exclusives, I'm pretty certain, for PlayStation. I don't like, for instance. Well, no, I was thinking Psychonauts. Well, Psychonauts is
owned by Microsoft now.
It's owned by Microsoft now, but I still think they're gonna have PlayStation accessibility. So, actually, to negate my point I was just making, I can't think of anything that was debuted today, or not today, or even last week, but a month ago at E3, that was PlayStation exclusive. So I'm curious as to what new exclusives we're going to be receiving. Like, what is Sony's year this year?
It's going to be Uncharted. Again.
What's Uncharted?
Uncharted? Nathan Drake or whatever?
No. But yeah, what do you mean? What this year is Uncharted?
It's gonna be Uncharted again.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
They're gonna make a new Uncharted game.
I don't think they're gonna make a new Uncharted game. And how do you know that?
I have a feeling, Nick. I have a feeling.
But I mean like 2019, like now. They won't have a new Uncharted game this year.
Then they'll have nothing. I don't know.
Because Death Stranding is what, 2020?
I don't know. I'm not a Sony fanboy.
I know. Yeah, they're not gonna have any big I mean, 2018 was the year. You had so many good things come out for video games, as
name them all.
You had Spider-Man. You had God of War.
Those are very good games.
Those were very good games. I'm playing God of War right now. Actually, I just turned it off to start up the podcast. I'm enjoying the heck out of this game. It's definitely one of my
number one dad. He's number one dad in everyone's
number
heart.
one good boy dad. Kratos, that lovable guy. That's what's disappointing me is I can't create any sort of background with like Kratos or anybody.
Old ones.
Well, because nothing came out for Sony that we need to talk about. There's nothing in regards to Sony that's of interest or importance for us
Sony
to talk
sucks.
Because Sony kind of dropped the ball on this one. I love that Kyle always calls me a fanboy when all I do is play PlayStation. That's my only correlation. I know, and you call me a fanboy for it, and I don't think you're...
Nick's a fanboy.
I don't think you're using that vernacular
Nick's a
properly.
Fanboy.
Certainly
He's got only Sony stuff. He's Sony TV.
Hey,
Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man every day.
Here's my big Sony, my anti-Sony pitch. It will sound like an anti-Sony pitch. It's not. It's my hot take of the week. I finally saw Into the Spider-Verse.
That's been out for a whole year.
Yeah,
almost.
It's for like a year. I finally saw that new Spider-Man movie people were talking about.
It sounds like an old man. It was free. It was on Netflix too for a month.
I know. Saw it. Thought it was pretty good. Not my favorite Spider-Man movie.
It was better. It was the best Spider-Man movie ever. Nick he doesn't understand the comics. He hasn't read the comics, so he has no reference.
Except that Kyle's a Sony fanboy, in my opinion. I don't know, folks.
No, it's a Marvel fanboy.
He's raveling for everybody to...
Nick, they follow the comics pretty well. Even the style looks like a comic.
They did not follow the comics very well. That storyline is not in the comics.
How do you know, Nick? You've never read it.
How do you know? You never read it. Stop making up straw man stuff.
There is a comic series called Into the Spider-Verse.
We're not here for Spider-Man, god damn it. We're here for Sony. This is a Sony episode.
No, it's not. It's Nintendo. Get out of here.
Sorry. You're right.
Sony's done. Okay, there's nothing. They're not
nothing to talk about
anything.
Sony. No.
Nick's disappointed. He's sad.
Definitely
He's
disappointed.
Gonna cry.
Definitely gonna cry about it.
Well, they'll probably have like a video showcasing the new PlayStation. Hopefully
soon. Within what are we in now? July.
Hopefully in August. Hopefully
before the end of the summer, definitely. Because you need to cap off. You can't have 2019 be a dry year.
You need it before Christmas so you can publicize it, get ads, publicity for the new PlayStation system, so you can sell it during Christmas time.
Certainly, very much certainly.
Okay, Nick, I think we're done with Sony now. I think we can move on to Nintendo news featuring Douglas Bowser.
Douglas? I never thought of him as a Douglas.
He looks like a Dougie.
A Dougie?
Look like a Dougie Bowser. R.I.P. Reggie. He died in our hearts, but not in real life.
No, yeah. He wasn't that old. He wasn't that old for like to retire, was he?
He was a hip young man. He was only 50 or something.
I don't know how you drive yourself out of the business that early.
He's probably making millions.
Just to quickly talk about Reggie, yeah, I thought it was pretty strange, his retirement. I imagine if you're in that, like, not even that golden year stage of your life. Not
he
even
did like 70 or 80 stage. To be golden years.
That's what I'm saying. It's not the golden year, but it's like the silver age of
it's
your
like
life.
The retirement era.
Well, it really
50s
isn't,
and 60s.
though. The 60s is like your golden retirement stage. This is like, if you haven't spent enough time on your personal life, this is like your catch-up time. This is like your midterm catch-up, last minute, like coffee break, figure out your midterms, all that stuff.
He's only 58.
This is cram time. He's 58?
Yeah, he doesn't look that old. He looks like a young 40.
No, he looks way older. When you said like 50 something, I was like, yeah, 51, 52.
He looks like a young stallion, that Reggie.
So he cut out a couple years earlier, but not as much as I would have thought. So yeah, hats off to Reggie for giving us... You know what? I'll be honest, I can't even say too much about him because I only picked up on the sphere of like Nintendo's influence and the state of plays and stuff.
The Reggie memes?
The Reggie memes within like the past like 2 years. So I can't really say like, thanks for all the memories. Yeah,
you aren't saying it right, but...
No. You're going to get copyright strike.
So, Doug Bowser got rid of Bowser from the stage.
Do we know who the head of Japan is now?
I don't know who that is.
We should know him. We should be respectful and should learn his name. I'll learn his name by the end of this podcast.
Nick won't.
Yeah, I will.
Sure, Nick, sure. So
you only know the guy's name is Doug Bowser because of Bowser memes.
Yeah, because it's a big meme. It was a big meme all of a sudden.
You should learn something more outside than the memes.
Okay, so besides Nick's stupid comments that he keeps making, we'll go on to Smash Bros. Ultimate with the newest additions featuring the Dragon Quest characters.
Wait, no, we didn't even talk about the beginning of the conference.
Nick, that's the beginning. It's literally Smash Bros. Ultimate.
You missed Bowser coming out. The funny memes. We definitely got talking about the funny memes with Bowser.
Nick ruins every podcast.
So Bowser the King Koopa himself came out when they said they had a new president of Nintendo America. And Bowser came out because he heard Doug Bowser and he thought it was him. So he came out with a little
Nick, you make me want to
he was
jump
so
off
excited.
A ledge right now.
He was so excited to tell everyone about the new games, and they shafted him. I felt so embarrassed for Bowser. It's kind of a big controversy. He was blown up all on Twitter. He blocked anyone who wasn't already following him.
It sounds like a 50-year-old dad right now that doesn't know what video games are.
He was a big show, big to do, and I felt really bad for him. So I tweeted out to Bowser saying, keep your head up. Does
Bowser even have a Twitter? I'm gonna look this up right now.
Absolutely. So
bet he doesn't.
After that, they started the conference like pretty strong because you'd want a Smash announcement from the get-go. I think there will be how many more fighters after this? 2 more
Just
fighters?
3.
Is there 3? Because what were the... No, because
There's 3 Dragon Quest characters that got introduced in the trailer.
No, there
3
were
or
4.
4.
There were 4. And what I mean is that out of the lined up slots in like November or like August of 2018, there was announcements that like 5 more characters were going to show up. 5 individual characters. Like the 3 other Dragon Quest characters are listed as Echo Fighters. So I'm curious as to, or maybe they're not Echo Fighters because
Echo Fighters. I know Echo Fighters are.
Well, if you did a little bit of research,
you talking about the trophies?
Fighters, no, Echo Fighters are, and I'm incorrect. I almost had my understanding of Echo Fighters incorrectly for a moment. Those characters are going to be skins. Echo Fighters in particular are like deviation characters. Like Ryu and Ken, Kyle, are not the same character with just different skins. Ryu and Ken have different fighting styles.
Yeah,
right. That makes it an Echo character, like so, the same way that I wonder if Dr. Mario. I think Dr. Mario is technically listed as an Echo fighter.
So you're saying they look the same as
the original
one
Echo fighter?
Well, but they have different fighting moves.
No, well, yeah,
the character they look like.
They are based around the same principle. They're just tweaked.
So you're talking about Lucas and
Ness. Like, no, well, I don't know if they again, these would be like the original Echo Fighters then, the same way Dr. Mario was, the same way, like Luigi and Mario are definitely not the same, but you could almost say that they're Echo Fighters because they're pretty darn similar. I have not. They're not. They're listing them differently for the way the character slot reveals are coming out. Daisy and Princess Peach. Daisy is an Echo Fighter.
What about Rosaline?
Rosaline is her own character.
Oh, so confusing. I don't look up this stuff. I just play the game.
How is Rosaline confusing? She has a little twinkly star character.
Talk about the Echo Fighters, the difference between real fighters and Echo Fighters.
Well,
they're all just fighters.
Daisy's an Echo Fighter. Some of the what would you call them? The Fire Emblem characters. Some of those guys, Echo Fighters.
I don't even know which one the Fire Emblem characters are because I don't play them.
Neither do I. Again, like you said, with your comparison to Kyle was talking about how Fire Emblem looks like a Netflix adaptation show because they didn't show any gameplay. I was like, yeah, it does. It looks like one of those the
3D gods, like the Godzilla.
The 3D Godzilla ones. That's right. So. Out of the announcements, I didn't know who any of the Dragon Quest characters were.
Yeah, I know who they were.
No. I mean, I've seen the trailer and stuff, but I never played a Dragon Quest. I didn't even know Dragon Quest was a thing before I saw Dragon Quest Builders 2. Like that stuff, which was an amazing trailer, and I love that rampant music that they put into that stuff. I'm like a pseudo Dragon Quest fan just because of their motifs and their world and the music. Beautiful.
Nick's getting a little invested too much. We might want to move on to another subject here, Nick. Another game. Well, we gotta go to
after that?
Right after that. After the little conference with little Dougie Bowser.
Was the Echo Fighters for Dragon Quest?
And it was Luigi's Mansion 3. It was after the conference.
Oh, right. Just after Doug Bowser
After Dougie Bowser.
That's right.
So Nick's a real big fan of these Luigi Mansion games, but I've never played them. But the third one looks pretty interesting. Never played them? Yeah, I never played them, Nick.
Well, I don't even know if you can tell me that I'm a big Luigi's Mansion fan.
You sound pretty excited when you saw it.
Because I've only played the first one, and I know there's a second one, and I know that people weren't a big fan of it, and I've never had the console to play it, so it's not like I avoided it or anything. I just never got around to it. Luigi's Mansion 3, though, looks pretty darn superb.
We got some new abilities, such as Slam.
Oh, yeah, just like the basic little... Well, to be fair, like, you could say that these are kind of low-level, like, move sets for a game that's coming out in 2019.
It's so kids can play it.
Considering how limited you really were in, like, the style of gameplay in Luigi's Mansion, I appreciate that little different mechanics were being added in, because you got to spruce it up a little bit.
There's Slam, and then there's also the plunger ability where you can pull stuff. Or like if ghosts have like shields or you're holding stuff, you can.
You said it's kind of an offensive move. I thought that was pretty nice.
And then you have the airburst, Nick. You also have airburst.
Okay, we're gonna go one by one.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good abilities. It's new stuff.
They're all stuff that I was looking forward. That I'm looking forward to playing. I will definitely be picking up Luigi's Mansion 3.
But I think the biggest one was Luigi.
It was Luigi, his little splooge, his little monster goo.
So me and Nick can play together. One of us can be Luigi, and the other one can be Luigi. And Luigi, he can go through traps, through bars, and do stuff Luigi can't. But he can't go in water. Just like actual goo would probably get dissolved in water.
Wait, like the level of detail we're going into this, we might as well just play the audio of the E3, or the Direct, and just go. Yeah, here it is. Here's our podcast.
But it looks like it's an interesting game.
I get it, but I'm just saying we could have mentioned there's Luigi because we can assume people have also seen this.
Well, not everyone has it. You can't make assumptions, okay?
We can't make it, or else you make an ass out of you and me.
But I think the multiplayer probably looks like the weakest point.
You think the multiplayer is the weakest point, really?
It didn't look that interesting to me. Just catching ghosts. Floor by floor. It looked pretty boring.
Oh, the multiplayer mode?
Yeah, the multiplayer mode.
I would definitely be interested in playing that with like at least 4 people. I can see it getting
8 people? That's
8 people
way
together.
Too much.
Well, how many people do you need to know? I think it's pretty much
like
online
4.
play. It's online play, isn't
2
it?
2 or 4, yeah. Online and
online play.
In person.
I hope they
Local.
I hope they figure out what they've not figured out apparently for
Mario Maker?
Mario Maker 2, and that all these... You can play with your friends, but only locally. Anybody online is random. I don't like that.
That was a dumb thing.
That's the Journey principle, minus... At least Journey was completely random. The idea that you can play with your friends, but not online in different locations, is just completely asinine to me. I don't know why... Nintendo still hasn't figured out like code names and username signups.
Nick, it's too complicated for a 4th generation console.
I can't believe they're still doing this thing with these long code names and files, and to put it all into individual. Like you can't get like a code to scan.
Why don't they just have like a usernames for?
That's what I'm saying. Is usernames would be the way to go. But
it'd be easier.
If they've figured out how to do the better system of letting your friends play with you online for Luigi's Mansion 2, if they've realized that mistake, I'll be more excited for the multiplayer modes. Otherwise, I'll just play with my girlfriend in the single player mode.
Be a loner and play with a girlfriend. Ugh, gross.
I forget. To be fair, I do forget that you and I both collectively have Switches now.
Yeah, we've Switches.
We've never played online with anything
because the online sucks.
Online's not bad if you have a good connection. Yeah, I've never found the online to be terrible. No, wait, yes I have. Splatoon 2 stinks. You're right. Online does stink. My opinion just reverbed.
It really stinks for Nintendo. Nintendo really hasn't figured out their online play yet.
No, they're always a generation behind.
It is cheaper though for Nintendo than it is for Xbox or anything.
Certainly.
Nick, would you like to move on to the next game we were excited about?
Absolutely. What's the next one?
The next one is the new Legend of Zelda game.
Wait, we're going to skip over Crystal...
You really want to talk about that, Nick?
No, I don't. I'm very excited to watch the Netflix show.
A third-person strategy game.
I will say that there were so many people that seemed confused as to what Dark Crystal was, from like the live streams and reactions I saw. And they were always like, "What does Netflix have to do with this?"
It's because it's like
is Netflix
old
coming to
80s
Switch
movie.
Well, no, but they don't understand why it's on, because the new show's coming out on Netflix.
Oh, there's a new show. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, right, exactly. So no one knows that there's a new show coming out on Netflix. So when the Netflix logo popped up, everyone was really excited to know that Netflix was coming to Switch, but it's not. It's just the Dark Crystal is teaming. The Dark Crystal team from Netflix is teaming up to make a Dark Crystal game based on the Netflix show.
I thought it was from like the movie, so they got Netflix's like help.
I don't know
to screen cap from movies to bring it to the game. That's what I thought it was. I didn't think there was gonna be a show.
No. There's a new show, Netflix, and I don't know if it's a sequel or not. I've never watched the original. I'll have to if I want to watch the Netflix show. But yeah, a top down. What is this even an XCOM game? Can you even like describe it as that?
No. I wouldn't describe it as XCOM.
No, I've never played that either, but it just
XCOM you get like a squad and it's third person, you just like command them to go somewhere and like take
Isn't that what this game is? You command
I thought it was like a strategy game where you just like set down characters and defense stuff.
Isn't that XCOM?
No, you like XCOM you have missions and stuff. And you command the characters to like move forward, take cover.
That sounds like a strategy game. What are you talking about?
Okay, Nick, we're just going to move on.
No.
to the Link game.
Fine. Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda, I forgot. I still can't remember.
Link's Awakening. How about
Link's Awakening? The classic... They're going back to the classic style of Legend of Zelda games, where it's like third-person, top-down RPG, instead of the third-person, like, what's called Breath of the Wild, kind of Skyrim.
Well, they're just making a remake. They're making a remake for this, and it's the cutesier anime style than
it is cute.
Than it is the. I love games that are transitioning, that are able to transition now from like piece by piece background design. So like Pokemon Pinball, the old style of game like that.
Who cares about that game?
I'm telling you, there's a difference between like a game like that. You'd have to have the bottom half loaded in separately and the top half loaded in separately. The DS was able to get around that issue when it came to like its Metroid game, though. Its Metroid pinball game, which by the way, yes, there was a Metroid pinball game, by having it loaded on both screens.
Did you buy pinball games?
I owned Pokemon pinball as a kid, yeah.
I cry for you, Nick.
It's great. That's my version of Pokemon.
So boring.
That it's so great because you get to capture them all with little balls and
Pokemon pinball. That was Nick's one experience in the Pokemon universe.
Yep, and it was the best. Nothing has topped it yet since. But anyway, I'm talking about the loading of screens. How a game, plenty of Zelda games on the Game Boy or the Game Boy Color were. You know, especially in the original games too, as well. But hardware limitations for maps having to load in segment by segment. I'm pretty certain that this was one of those as well. Maybe it wasn't actually. Maybe in games like that, it wasn't limited to a certain dimensional square you had to have on the screen at once, and then have it transition to another. The dungeon certainly would be like that, but. This game looks to be fully fleshed out, to have all, not have a singular bird eye view of everything. It looks like it's going to have a wide stretch of, or maybe, no, the older game, what I'm thinking of is that the older games would have miniature segments the older but slightly newer games would have larger segments like that. And now a game like this will have the capacity to just transition the whole way through, like having everything loaded in at once. And hopefully there won't be any delays between map areas or anything. So the game looks beautiful. I'm looking to pick it up.
You think it'll be $60 or like a $20-$30?
I think it'll be $60. I'm quite certain.
You think it will for like a remake?
For a remake that looks this good and how much quality and care they're taking it to make it look good, yeah, I think so.
I don't know, Nick. I don't know.
For their Switch, yeah, everything's coming out $60. What was the last big one that came out for like $40? They're selling stuff for now at $40, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's nothing that really debuts at $40 anymore that's of note like this, so I think it'll be $60.
Nick thinks it'll be $60. I hope it's gonna be like $20 or $40.
So, are you gonna pick up? Did you ever play The Witcher 3?
Nope, I did not, Nick. I won't pick it up for this either because I don't want to play The Witcher 3 on a Switch.
Well, how well did Skyrim transition? I know it's probably it's a difference in quality and what it's going to take to load in.
You think it'd be fun if it's like Breath of the Wild? You think it'd be pretty easy to play and stuff, but it's also first person, so. I don't know if that would change the effect.
The Witcher is not first person.
Oh, wait, no.
Skyrim is first person, but it's also third person if you want it to be, so no.
I don't know. Nick, you already have The Witcher 2, so I know you're not going to buy it.
I don't have The Witcher 2, I have The Witcher 3. I said
Witcher as in also.
Alright.
T-O-O.
I can't read your T-O-O across the
room, Nick, that we're in right now.
I still wouldn't be able to read it coming out of your mouth.
Nick, you can read it come out of my mouth.
Alright, can we move on to something like...
Okay, Nick, we got Fire Emblem, the new Netflix anime series that's coming out.
Yeah, I don't know what the game's like. I don't know what the other games are like.
Nick, I told you,
it's like a remake or
a third-person
care.
Fighting game where you just run around, capture points, defeat soldiers, and defeat bosses.
Sounds great. It sounds like every video game ever. Alright, so...
No, it's just a fighting game. It's pretty boring.
Silent Hill had a really bad commercial that confused everybody. They couldn't tell if like the new games were being remade or if the new remakes were coming on to the Switch.
Silent Hill? What are you talking about, Silent Hill?
Or what did I say?
Resident Evil. It's Resident
Evil. All these games blend in together. All right.
Nick, they're two distinctly different games.
I'm going to end up calling it Blair Witch at some point, so relax and just live with that. Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 are the ones coming to the Switch in fall. Resident Evil, I don't know, 0 or 10? Is that what it was?
0?
There's like one listed on here that says Resident Evil, and it's got a 0 and a slash through it, like a number. I think it's like yeah, absolutely. And Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil were which I'm pretty sure is the remake from like 2000 something or other. Those are coming on to the Switch, or they're already on the Switch. You could play them right now if you wanted.
Okay, Nick, you can talk about the cherries now? What game was it called? No More Heroes 3.
No More Heroes 3. I've never played any of them. I've seen people play it. People seem to like this series.
What's the series about? I can't tell from the
about a guy
trailer.
named Travis or something, and he fights with a laser sword. That's what I know about it.
What? That's the game?
That's the game. And this is the third game.
Nick had a very big problem with the ending of this trailer.
I had a big problem with it because it's framed so weirdly. Because Kyle even had to remind me what he was even talking about. He said cherries, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
The cherries.
Yeah, that's right. The cherries at the end of the stupid trailer.
The chick fondling the cherries.
The chick fondling the cherries like they're a sack of balls. And what bothers me about it is that there's clearly evidence of an additional set of frames or animation that had come afterwards, as if she had popped the cherry like off screen. But I was like, oh, this has to be the censored American version.
Yeah, probably.
Let me look up the uncensored version, which I assumed there just was, and there is. And the only thing about it is that it's longer with additional footage. There's blood even coming off robots, which I don't know how that, but again, I'm talking about a game series I don't know anything about. And then it cuts to the same thing. It cuts off way too early. If you look, there's a frame of motion that should not have been there. It's like cutting off a sentence It's like cutting off a scene mid-sentence. It just doesn't make any sense. Looking at you, Sopranos.
Nick doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what they're going for.
I certainly don't. There was Contra.
Contra.
You could talk about Contra.
Not getting that.
Everyone, this looks like
it looks pretty bad. Even the animation looks really bad for some reason.
Hey, at least they have wireless co-op. Well, every game has wireless co-op.
Yeah, pretty much every game has wireless co-op, Nick. I don't know, it just doesn't look that great to me or interesting at all.
I don't mind if it's just mindless fun. I could play Jak and Daxter, like, spin-off games with our buddy Brian. I say like our buddy as if he's like not a member of the crew.
Our crew member.
Not as if he's the third, yeah. Bright guy, you may not have heard of him. Okay. Next, what came after that?
We have the cool Gundam-esque game with the giant robots and stuff. Damon Machinima? Diamond? It's like DAEMON.
No.
Looks pretty interesting, Nick. I like mech games.
Why does it look interesting to you as a mech game?
Because it looks sick. What do you mean? I like the art style.
Well, I guess if you like the art style, sure enough.
And I like fighting giant mechs. What do you mean, dude?
Sick. That's what you can say about it.
It's like Gundam. It looks like Gundam. Sick. I don't like the people. The people look kind of bad quality if you look at the trailer. Like the characters aren't really like I don't know, they don't look...
Well, the character models are not the big focus of the game. You don't walk around as a character model.
Yeah, you walk around as the mech, and the mechs look...
Walk around as a big old mech shooting stuff.
The mechs look really good for what they are. I think you just like... It's just a fighting mech game. I think you just run around, fight. Maybe it's an RPG, I can't tell from the game. But I'm pretty sure it's just fighting. It's like a shooter, third-person shooter pretty much in a mech.
There was a game called Panzer Dragoon that came out that everyone else freaked out about. I didn't know what this was about. It looked like a flying simulator to me. So there's that. I don't know. It feels like at this point we're just waiting to get till the end.
Till the
with
end?
Both Legend of Zelda and Smash.
No, Nick. We got other stuff. We
can talk about Pokemon and how trash, and I mean trash the animations.
Nick, it's not trash.
Let's talk about this.
We're going to talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Pokemon Sword and Shield. I was not really aware of this game until E3. It may have been talked about earlier. I can't remember.
Yeah, I talked to you about it earlier.
Okay.
Because I'm a big old Pokemon fan, dog. Woo.
To me, outside of I don't know when it starts to drop off, but the quality of types of Pokemon seems to be dropping lower and lower and lower.
Nick, can you explain what that means? Because I don't know what that means.
To me, it means that what they do now is that they have a starting set of Pokemon. And like again, this isn't even a big thing on Sword and Shield. This is more a thing on Pokemon. So it's not a well, wait, which comes first? The things that the Pokemon are going to be based on or the games? Like the anime or the cards, or I don't know. The
game comes first, then the anime.
And right, then so the design comes in. Okay, then. So this is a criticism of Sword and Shield. So these designs that have been coming out for the last couple of years, I'm not saying these ones are bad. I'm just saying in terms of what is going to grab my attention, starting out with just shapeless kind of forms and then adding animalistic features and then going, okay, you're the blue one, you're the green one,
Nick,
you're the red one.
What are you talking about?
Seems to me like lazy design.
No, Nick.
Okay, if you sit Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charizard together,
Charmander.
They seem like that's right, Charmander. If you sit them on a little pedestal and you say, "Look at these little fucks,"
Jeez.
I go. These guys look like fun animal creatures that exist within the world.
Yeah, and you'd be able to tell them apart.
I know, but exactly. But I don't go, oh, these guys are a matching set, and they're like they're what you start out with. I would just go, look at these fascinating little creatures.
They're not supposed to be a matching set, Nick.
But that's what the new designs are. All they are now are just the starting Pokemon. And to me, I feel like starting Pokemon, if you have to say, they have to be the leaf, the water, and the fire.
That's how it's always been, because so kids understand how the game works. It's a simpler way describing, fire's good against leaf, water's good against fire.
I don't know what's worse, that they're getting too it feels like they're just like watering down each version of Pokemon. Like, what was again, I wasn't going to tell you which version, the last version I was going to like and the last version I was going to dislike or start to dislike. I like Eevee for a design. Wait, no, Eevee's the brown one.
Yeah, it's the brown one. That's Generation 1.
That's Generation 1. But there's an additional starting Pokemon that Ash had for a while that was like a leaf on her head and looked like a little pupper.
Puppy?
It wasn't really a puppy, but it looked like a Netto.
With a leaf on its head?
With a leaf on its head, and it would like do the leaf dash.
Is this in Generation 1?
It's definitely not Generation 1 because that Pokemon was definitely a starting Pokemon. Are you talking about
Bayleaf in Generation 2? Chikorita?
Okay, that definitely looks like Chikorita's evolved form, so I'm going to say it was Chikorita.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah, it's Chikorita. Chikorita is an adorable, great design for a starting Pokemon.
I mean, I like Cyndaquil a lot
is
more.
a great starting design. Totodile is a great starting design. I would just, again, even though Cyndaquil and Totodile look like they're both kind of like lizardy reptile things, I would still say that these are separate enough to be great starting Pokemon.
Well, Nick, it's because you have
now
reference
all they do,
to real world animals. That's how you're able to say it's great.
Right. And to me, these starting Pokemon are now just abstract shapes that they then again add animalistic features and then slap coats of
one's
red,
a monkey,
blue, and green on.
One's a lemur. I mean,
right, but yeah, I'm that's not.
No, sorry. One's a lemur. One's a bunny, and one's a what's it called? They're newt. One's a newt.
To me, these starting Pokemon look like just abstract designs that they then work towards to make.
I don't know, Nick. They usually start out with real world animals and then
all three of these things have little feathery, whether it's their ears or feathers,
Nick?
or just
none of them have feathers
or a fin. They have a leaf feather. The monkey one does.
That's
the bunny
a leaf.
has ears.
He says a leaf feather.
The third one has. I'm just saying they all have things on top of their heads, and not all Pokemon have to have things.
Well, one's a bunny, Nick. So I think rabbits need.
But again,
ears.
They just start with a design that looks okay. So there's no bunny Pokemon before this, then.
I think there's one or
That's
two.
That's my point. There's no monkey Pokemon. There's nothing that looks even slightly like that blue one.
I don't think think there's a lemur Pokemon that looks like this because there's a orangutan one and like there's mankeys and monkeys. This one looks like a lemur to me or something.
That is my entire point, Kyle. Is that they keep rounding about to the same general idea and then going, here's a coat of color. Here you go.
But we don't realize
I don't know if I sound like a bitter old man.
Because there's a new one that came out like 2 days ago. I think it's Roly Coly. It's a hunk of coal with an eye in it.
Again, I'm not talking about all Pokemon. I'm talking about starting Pokemon are all lame.
That's not true.
They are.
You just said Chikorita, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle. All the old ones are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you haven't seen past those. That's why. You don't know the rest of them.
Okay, if we were going on a tangent about all the starting Pokemon, I'd have enough reason, but we're not.
Nick,
I'm now here to talk to you about how Sword and Shield animation style is lazy, unimaginative, and just bad. Just bad overall. And Kyle apparently seems to refuse to get that because he doesn't think that's what the games should be about.
Nick, I was saying, I agree, they do get gradually worse as the series goes on.
It's water. It's filtered through. They just keep sifting.
But I wouldn't say they're that bad as you're making them out. I'm just saying.
Maybe I'm a little worked up over it, but I think it's still bad, and I want people to acknowledge this. You in particular,
Nick.
And I think I've turned you. I think I've made you turn the corner.
Well, with some of the stuff, like the trainers look pretty bad in this new game. They always look the same.
The trainers look the best part of this game.
You think the trainers look good compared to the stuff we saw earlier?
Well, considering that they're at least really well, not really well designed, but they're intricately designed. I like the one that we saw in this E3 that's come out. I can't remember any of them. To be fair, I can't tell you any other gym leader names. And again,
Nick, we're not talking about gym leaders.
This isn't even a game I'm even interested in talking about. Well, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the trainers, like the person you start out as.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was talking about
I guess I haven't
the
looked at
game.
those.
Do you remember the fighting game we saw earlier? I was saying the fighting game characters. It was like Pokemon Stadium in 2013 or something. The trainers look way better than the trainers do in the new games.
Everything looks better in the old games compared to this game, to be fair. But
you're talking about the gym leaders.
yeah, the gym leaders. I think those look good.
Well, the gym leaders always look good because they're always unique and stylized.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I'll agree with you that they don't have they're not spreading it all through your individual.
Well, it's because
character.
each region or each Pokemon game is set in a different region, which represents a different place in the world. Like this one, Galar region, is supposed to represent like England and the United Kingdom.
Oh yeah, that's
But
right.
I think the one before that was supposed to be like the France area, the French area.
Oh yeah, that's right. England with their big open rainy fields.
No, the other one was supposed to be Hawaii. Like the Hawaii area, and then
I'm done talking about Pokemon. I've kind of expended as much as I won't even want to discuss about this without something.
But I would say I like they include some of the stuff from Breath of the Wild. They have like changing weather, different climates. You have to go around, climb areas. Different Pokemon spawn, which isn't normal. They spawn in the different areas. I like seeing like the Pokemon roam around, you know, instead of just going in the long grass and not seeing it.
I told you I'm done talking about Pokemon. I'm willing to move on to something else. I'm willing to mumble my way into something else.
What's after Pokemon, Nick? Nothing.
After Pokemon, there's that Angel and Demon games with Tom Hanks. There's
yeah, shit.
Oh, Animal Crossing. Are you a fan of Animal Crossing?
No, I'm not a 80-year-old grandma that has over 3,000 hours on Animal Crossing.
Yeah. No, I don't quite get the appeal. I see the appeal in these games. I just don't garner this appeal.
Nick, you skipped Mario and Sonic Olympics.
Oh, that's right. Mario and Sonic get the Olympic Games.
Well, we have to finish Animal Crossing now.
We're not talking about Mario and Sonic at the Olympic
Games.
What do you mean? If no one cares about
those
games.
Are pretty fun.
I saw one guy whose whole reaction was, I don't know who Dragon Quest is. Luigi's Mansion. Why are they making another game of this? Banjo-Kazooie. I didn't even like that game. That's an old game. Silent Hill. I don't even like this. Or Resident Evil. I keep saying Silent Hill. All this stuff. And then
Sonic and Mario.
Sonic and Mario came up, and he lost his goddamn mind. He was so happy. He was so happy that the gang was back to win gold.
Well, the game isn't that bad, Nick. I'd say it's a pretty good game.
I'm just saying, why is it that's on anybody's list? Like, who cares?
Well, I mean, if you have a family, it'd be pretty fun to play. If you had more than just yourself playing it, I'd say it's probably a buy.
Yeah, all right. I won't bash it. Just saying.
Okay, so you're talking about Animal Crossing, Nick. And Animal Crossing is one of those games where you just, like, farm. You just build stuff. Farm fish, farm stuff. It's just boring tasks, pretty much. You have to complete pretty much every day.
No, Kyle, I get what the game is. Where you explaining
to the audience, Nick. Maybe they don't know.
Kyle, stop explaining it to the audience like they're babies.
They are babies. Who watches our videos, Nick?
They're not.
Our 6 subscribers. I know them all. I know I have to explain to them.
Fair enough. Okay, so then Smash.
Smash, we got...
There was actually a whole collection of, like, games that they were showing off. Like Doom and stuff. To just quickly wrap up. I think Skyrim Blades. Elder Scrolls Blades was coming out. They're showcasing off everything. Like Mario Party.
Nick, are you still talking about something?
Jeez. Did you know there's a Stranger Things game coming out? I did not.
I haven't even watched season 3 yet, or 2.
Yep. So that's coming out for the Switch. And then Banjo-Kazooie came out. Whoopee.
Banjo-Kazooie for Smash Ultimate. What?
People were really thrown off by his design, I think, at the beginning.
Why? He doesn't look that bad.
He doesn't look that bad, but he's based off the box art. He's not based off, like, the in-game model. Because the in-game model is lower resolution. And
yeah, why'd they have a lower resolution character in a 2019 game?
I get it, but in the game, his eyes are black, like, all the way through.
Bruh, who cares
they're actual physical objects, like they bulge off of his face. Whereas in this game, everything's like, it's done like the box art. Like it just looks like you could pick up your old cartridge and cartridge box and look at it, and there
I think it looks
blue-eyed, Blue-eyed little boy. Yeah,
It includes new maps,
good.
right? Or
just one. Everybody comes with one.
Oh, everyone comes with one new map. Hopefully, it's free. I don't want to pay for more.
It's not free at all. All the stuff
they had
you have
PD
to pay
Piranha
for
free.
Right, that was an exclusive to pre-order.
No, I got them for free. I didn't pre-order it.
Okay, well then they dropped it from a pre-order to free.
Yeah, hopefully they have Banjo in.
No, this is not free. This is $6.
What a waste! What a waste!
Everything is $6, or you get the season pass for $25.
Not worth it.
Again, it's up to you whether it's
not
worth it. I think Joker was one of the first characters that was introduced to me for the
Persona
$6 tier. Yep.
Okay, Nick, what is after Smash Ultimate? Is that Breath of the Wild 2, I see?
I had to text my girlfriend this, and she was at work, and all I said was Breath of the Wild 2, and I got a phone call.
She actually
and
called
with a labored breathing call, she went, what'd you say? What do you mean? What? Like, she was just confused. She didn't even understand what that could even mean. And I was like, she's like, he's like, this DLC? And I was like, no, it's like gonna be a brand new game with Zelda and Link like together. And she like crapped herself. It was pretty great. It was pretty.
Well, I haven't finished the first one.
So pretty great news to wake up.
I have to finish the first one so I can get to this new one.
Yeah, she still has to face Ganon, Clement again at the end.
I'm not even like halfway done with the game.
Well, you'll have plenty of time because
Well, we played Pokemon.
Imagine I'll do a 100% run through again once I decide to get the DLC. In fact, after I beat Mario Rabbids, as well as once I beat Cuphead, maybe I'll pick up the old season pass for Legends.
Okay, Nick, I don't think anyone cares at this point, but.
Okay, well, what do you expect to see in Legend of Zelda 2? Well, to be fair, you haven't beat it.
Yeah, I haven't beat it, so I don't know what happens. Hopefully Ganon doesn't come back, because hopefully he's dead at the end of the game.
Were there any games in this... Were there any, like, major sequels? Luigi's Mansion was a sequel.
It's a sequel.
But you pretty much kind of know what you're going to expect. I'm really hoping to see a lot of, like, particularly goofy characters and models and
you want them to return from the first
designs. Like characters from the original?
Like
no.
the shark people?
I'm hoping to see
the
shark people?
In Breath of the Wild, the shark guys.
Shark people?
Yeah, the shark guys. Or like fish people.
Yeah, they're Zoras. They're in every Zelda game ever. And I was talking about Luigi's Mansion. I hope to see like plenty of like interesting character designs as ghosts, because the first one's so great with that. Plenty of memorable faces to work with.
Sure, Nick. Whatever you say.
I'm just saying, because there's nothing in Breath of the Wild. There's nothing for you to anticipate in Breath of the Wild 2. You haven't beaten Breath of the Wild. So I felt like this segment needed us to go, hey, Kyle, so out of all the games we've seen, or of games that will soon follow, what are you hoping to see? Trying to bounce stuff off.
I want to see some fun games that will be pretty cheap.
All right, you're looking for cheap prices. I'm looking for good content.
Well, Nick, you like to complete stuff. I don't complete games, usually.
I'm a big completionist, for sure.
I don't 100% games. I just play it till I get bored. Or till I get all the achievements.
I get my dollars amount out of it. That's why I play the hardest modes from the beginning. Because then I can die as many times as I want and gain those hours.
I think the only game I've ever 100% beaten was Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Yeah, and I only got through like 4 levels of that, and none of it was completed. So, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, did they say that all the Skywalker saga, Lego Star Wars, is that going to be
for
is that going to be on the Switch?
Hopefully, yeah. I'll buy it if it's on Switch.
God, I really hope so. I'd love to come over and play that.
Nick, you just buy it on yours.
Well, wait. Has Lego ever done the transition to online play?
I don't know.
God, I'd really hope that for something like that. Just even if it's not, like if it hasn't been, start here and go onward with any other franchise you include, because I think online comfort of your own home is what I think sells me on a lot of stuff. So
yeah, come on, Star Wars, just make it multiplayer. Come on,
just make it multiplayer online. Come on.
Okay, Nick, we have one more thing to talk about for Nintendo.
Oh,
and that is the new Switch Lite, which the trailer came out yesterday, 2 days ago? 2 days ago or yesterday?
Yesterday, I think.
And the Nintendo Lite is a new compact version of the Nintendo Switch. I believe it does not have HD Rumble. The two things are attached to the side. I forgot what they're called. The controllers.
The Joy-Cons they're not removable.
You cannot connect the Lite to the TV.
No, yep, it's all what you have in your hand.
It's a smaller screen, but I believe they said it has a longer lasting battery than the Switch.
Well, if you have the Rumble out, yeah, it's most likely going to increase its expectancy and performance.
Hopefully.
Well, I'm curious as to if you can't dock it to the if you can't dock it to your port or to the TV, can you put it in? Can you charge?
It probably has like a charging cord, like the 3DS or something.
So then you're gonna have to get your own stand as well, or is the stand's gonna be the same?
Unless the stand's the same.
Maybe hopefully they figure out this.
But it comes in 3 terrible colors, in my opinion. Terrible yellow, really bright blue, and just boring gray.
Is there gray?
Yeah, I think there's gray. Or was it pink?
I thought it was pink, blue, and yellow.
Let me see. Yeah, I thought it was. I know there's yellow and blue, and they're both really ugly.
Remembering. What you thought those were ugly colors?
No, it's gray. I thought it was fine enough. A light gray.
I thought it was a fine enough color.
It's turquoise, for yellow and gray.
I mean, to have the whole system look like that, I didn't mind that.
Nick, but
it might be a little gaudy for some.
That's a pretty high expense for like a 3DS that you could get for like $50.
Well, do you think the 3DS is somehow better than even close to the Switch? No. The 3DS, from what I've seen, looks like a DS.
That's pretty good still. It's easier to carry around than a Switch Lite, probably.
It somehow looks as good and or as bad as the ones that we got pretty much years ago.
I don't like the colors. I think you could just buy a 3DS if you really wanted something to carry around. The Switch itself, the Switch console, seems a way better thing than the Switch Lite does to me.
They were also advertising. I thought this was going to be like a version they were going to advertise for kids because smaller console, smaller hands, smaller people to play with,
and less price.
Less on the price, more on the advantages of just like having it in your knapsack or whatever. Just travel to school with it.
I thought it was for like car rides for kids.
All the videos they were displaying were for kids or were for adults, which I think was really smart. It was really smart. It was really smart to do that because, of course, you're going to have your market where kids are going to get this, but it needs to be marketed towards a bigger audience as well to rack up those dollar amounts as well. I don't know who our age demographic that already has a Switch is going to get one of these, though. That's the one thing.
There's no point of getting this one.
I can't imagine playing Legend of Zelda the whole time on my handheld. I just
and on a smaller screen too.
There will be games for it, but certainly none of the games I own.
Okay, everyone, that seems to be the conclusion to our Nintendo podcast, the E3, the last of the E3 podcast. I would like to thank everyone for coming out, watching our podcast, supporting the boys. I'd like everyone to crack open a cold one, have a sip, enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye. Say goodbye, Nick.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening to our jargon. Absolute drivel.
Sorry Nick sucks, but that's alright. Bye.
Goodbye.